8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Margaret Samuel. As many here today, I have lived and worked here in downtown Toronto for 28 years. The Toronto Concerned Citizens Coalition is addressing the media today, Tuesday, March 24th, outside of 111 Elizabeth Street. This is part of a series of press conferences to bring attention to a number of hot button items leading up to this fall's municipal election. Priority among countless issues is 81 Elizabeth Street's warming center, which many local residents and business operators parallel to a war zone. Drug trafficking, weapons possession, assaults, disorderlies, arson, discarded needles, property damage, theft, break and enter, public defecation, and injection of drugs into pets is among an odyssey of insanities that have terrorized this once vibrant neighborhood located behind City Hall. Many compare it to the notorious Novotel conversion to a shelter that petrified residents and business operators on the Esplanade before the shelter shut down in 2022. Following our speakers, each of whom will speak for up to 4 minutes, they are Carlene Nation, Downtown Concerned Citizens Organization, Jeff Pollock, Elizabeth Street Safety Committee, Eric Gillespie, LLB, Paul McCusey, We Are Citizens, Karima Saad, JD Journalist, and Daniel Tate, Integrity TO. Our first speaker is Carlene Nation.
Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. Thank you. We appreciate this. And thanks to the media for covering this very important press conference. We, the residents of Toronto, have a voice. We must speak loudly and call out the administrators who are putting in place policies that are destroying our quality of life, destroying our neighborhoods, and destroying our streets. We are now calling for Gordon Tanner, who is in charge of Toronto Shelter Services. We're calling for Gordon Tanner to resign because of gross incompetence and mismanagement and fiscal waste in terms of managing Toronto Shelter Support Services, which 81 Elizabeth Street is just one example. Toronto Shelter Services receive more than $1 billion for their annual budget. And what we're seeing, according to the Toronto Auditor's report, is there's a lot of waste, a lot of mismanagement and fraud. And there are no consequences. So we're calling on Gordon Tanner to resign. We have residents over the past few years complaining about the warming center at 81 Elizabeth Street, complaining about the litany of problems wreaking havoc in this neighborhood on residents and terrorizing business owners as well, with all the break-ins, the theft, gun, weapons, etc., etc. You cannot set up a warming center or a respite center or a shelter and not put in proper security and not ensure that not just the people inside the center are safe, but people in the community are safe. And residents in our community have been calling on Councillor Uzma Malik, who is a councillor for this area, calling on other officials and calling on Gordon Tanner and Loretta Ramadan to address this issue. And they're not addressing the issue. We must have safety. If you're putting in a warming center, and we all agree, we need warming centers to keep people warm in these cold winters, but they must be managed properly. They must be managed respectfully so that you don't have people coming out of the warming center literally terrorizing residents. It must end. So we're calling not only for this shelter to close down, we're calling for a deep dive, a deep audit in the finances of Toronto Shelter Services and Support. We want an audit, and we want the people in charge of all the gross, wasteful spending and the mismanagement. We want them to resign, and so we want a new direction for our shelter services here in Toronto. So we want to start with this warming center, make it safe for residents and for businesses. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carleen. Our next speaker is Jeff Pollock, Elizabeth Street Safety Committee.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Pollock, and I've been a resident of 111 Elizabeth Street for the last 19 years. My neighbors and I are here this morning to share with you the gross misrepresentation. My neighbors and I are here to share with you today the gross misrepresentation that was made by Councillor Ozma Malik. 81 Elizabeth Street was supposed to be a warming center where people could go when it was cold at night for a place to sleep. Instead, our neighborhood has become overwhelmed by drug addicts who have aggressive behavior. In the last few years, I've seen people smoking crack on Elizabeth Street. Businesses have been looted. Women in our building have been sexually harassed. And there have been multiple homicides at 81 Elizabeth Street over the last few years. Using numbers from the city's Auditor General, we believe that it costs the taxpayer $25,000 a day to operate that center. We see a lot of red lights and we hear a lot of sirens. That is because first responders are summoned between 1 and 3 times a day to this location. That costs the taxpayer $5,000 in addition to the other $25,000. We strongly believe that this is the wrong location for this center. There is a daycare 75 meters away, not to mention a U of T students' residence across the street. The center does not have the medical staff and case workers that can help drug addicts deal with their problem. Councillor Ozma Malik, stop ignoring the constituents of Spadina Fort York and relocate this center now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Our next speaker is Eric Gillespie.
Good morning. I'm Eric Gillespie, and our law firm has been acting on matters involving the City of Toronto and housing projects for a number of years for community groups all over the city. Specifically, we are now involved in a legal proceeding that is before the courts right now, that we are representing citizens out in Etobicoke in relation to a development that is going forward of supportive housing. At the same time, that has brought together a coalition of about 10 different community groups from all over this city because they have the same concerns. The central facet, the central feature to every one of the cases that we're involved in, including the Elizabeth Street situation, is the city simply never consults with anybody before they decide to locate these types of facilities. That's completely the opposite of good planning, even in this city or in this province. That common denominator has allowed this coalition to move forward in the courts And recently, the City of Toronto tried to stop the coalition by saying, you can't talk about anything but the one project out in Etobicoke, Wardlaw Crescent. We got a decision just in the last couple of weeks where the Ontario Superior Court of Justice and the Divisional Court has said, no, that's incorrect. And so we will be able to proceed now to talk about the systemic problem that we have in this city, the institutional problem that is occurring. So we're now in the process of developing further evidence to put in front of the court. We hope to be in court later this year, and we welcome the opportunity to talk to anybody who has experienced these same kinds of difficulties with the city. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. Our next speaker is Paul McCuisey. We are citizens.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Paul McCuisey, and I'm representing the citizens of 416 Coalition. We spent the last few months doing something remarkably simple, showing up for people, something this administration has made remarkably difficult. Our community meetings have become a way of keeping residents informed of changes being made faster than anyone can keep up with. The sad reality is that instead of being a part of the conversation, residents frequently wake up to changes without notice. This isn't an isolated incident, it's a pattern, one where decisions flow down and citizens are simply expected to accept them. Take the Avenue study, the major transit station area review, and the quiet conversations happening around the sale of school lands. These aren't small decisions. They will impact thousands of people and change the very fabric of what makes Toronto unique. Residents are being handed conclusions and told they were consulted, but that's not collaboration, it's a performance. Drastic changes are being proposed, while essential infrastructure continues to get worse with each passing day. Our roads are crumbling, our water systems are aging faster than we can repair them, and our institutions are stretched as thin as they can be. We can barely handle the growth we're currently experiencing, so who exactly are these decisions being made for? And then there's the money, because it's always about the money. I've lost count of how many times I've heard Toronto is broke, that we as a city can't afford this and we can't fund that. And yet the reckless spending continues. Budgets that can't be balanced, reserve funds being drained, and unwanted projects being approved. We didn't show up here today to point fingers, though. We're here because we've seen what real collaboration looks like, and we know that the city is actually capable of it. Transparency isn't a liability. It's how things actually get done. There are more citizen-led coalitions being formed around the city every day because people care and they want their input to be considered. The city belongs to the people, to the taxpayer. And to every single person drawing a salary from us, the taxpayers, our respect is not owed to you, it is earned. So I leave you today with this. If the decisions being made are truly in the best interest of Torontonians, why are we always the last to know? Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Our next speaker is Karima Saad, JD journalist.
Good morning, everyone. Normally, I document events like this. I don't speak at them. But today, I am, because what I've seen over the past several years documenting protests and political demonstrations in Toronto concerns me. Masked individuals blocking traffic and confronting citizens, the disruption of family-oriented events, parks rendered unsafe by encampments propped up by activists, fireworks shot into crowds, police officers punched in the face. My background is in law. I believe in human rights and civil liberties, including freedom of expression and assembly. These are not optional. These are cornerstones in a free and democratic society. Let's be straightforward about what's happening in Toronto. There is a growing trend of activism being used as a cover for harassment and intimidation, and the institutions meant to provide checks and balances are not doing their job. Police often appear hamstrung. Certain politicians benefit from a landscape that shuts down dissent, and certain activists get rewarded with public money. Media reporting plays into narratives of good guy versus bad guy, but based on ideology, not behavior or tactics. And so reality on the ground is not always as it is widely portrayed. There's an overemphasis on how things are wrapped up and presented with minimal thought to what's inside the actual package, especially when the labels sound good, like progress or anti-hate. And this is what it looks like when a society drifts from first principles. Individual rights, rule of law, where rules are applied fairly and consistently, equality before the law, majority rule with minority rights, accountability and transparency. It's not just abstract. Laws, not individuals or ideologies, must govern our society. And it should disturb us all that public resources are being used to enable chaos and disorder dressed up as social justice. Pay attention to who benefits from this. Some of them work behind us at City Hall.
Thank you, Karima. Our next speaker is Daniel Tate of Integrity TO.
Good morning. We're gathered here today because we are acknowledging the general state of our city and the decline of Toronto that's accelerated over the last 4 years. Every quality of life metric in our city for all citizens has been in marked decline since 2022, including but not limited to drug use and biohazardous waste all over the city and transit system, the state of our roads, efficiency and safety of the TTC is in a pitiful state. Property taxes are at record highs, almost 20% over the last 3 years. Infrastructure continues to decline, including our pathetic garbage bins and other street furniture. Renamings are up, though, and the city has lost the beauty and the luster that we all know it used to have less than 10 years ago. Why is this the case? Well, let's dive a little bit deeper into it. Let's first start with shelters. Toronto's shelter strategy is completely flawed. It's completely backwards. We have a shelter budget that is almost $800 million, just shy of $1 billion, yet many homeless people would rather sleep on the streets because being in shelters is unsafe and unhygienic. Counselors are now hiding behind this idea of delegated authority, allowing them to sidestep public consultation and say they don't know about siting of different locations. Shelters are now accomplices in the drug trade through their harm reduction activities. They are attracting drug dealers and other nefarious elements, perpetuating addiction because they're freely handing out needles, meth pipes, crack pipes, etc. Our call is to, number one, audit the Toronto Shelter and Support Services Division, rescind delegated authority to city staff, prohibit harm reduction activities at all shelters, especially men's shelters, and make sure that all shelters cannot be located any closer than 200 meters from schools, libraries, parks, and daycares. It is time to protect our neighborhoods and protect our kids. On to Chris Moyse. Chris Moyse is a predatory counselor. He has a pattern of disrespect for constituents and saying hurtful things. Quality of life in his ward, Toronto Centre, has also declined in an accelerated fashion in the last 4 weeks 4 years since he took office in 2022. It is time to restore civility and respect to public office, and Chris Moyse should be sanctioned for his latest violation of the Councillor Code of Conduct. Our garbage bins are in a pathetic state, and several sitting career councillors who voted for this rotten Astral garbage deal back in 2007 are still councillors. Fletcher, Perks, Nunziata, Peruzza, Carroll, Ainsley, they all voted to outsource our garbage bins to a media company back in 2007. What a terrible, rotten deal. It took 20 years and Integrity TO to make a huge stink about it for them to wake up and finally say, okay, we're going to fix our garbage bins. Well, that's too little, too late. We got to stop with the knee-jerk reactive governance. We want proactive leadership at City Hall. A couple more quickly. Term limits. I think the time has come that we really need to lobby the province to ensure that we have term limits at City Hall. Too many of these councillors have been here for decades. We have councillors who have been here since before the iPhone was invented, before Facebook was invented. This is how democracy gets stagnated. We are proposing term limits, 3 terms maximum, 4 years each. If you can't fulfill your legacy as a politician in 12 years, then it's time to retire and join the Bridge Club. Litigation. So why is the city finding itself on the wrong side of several civil litigations pertaining to third-party operators and shelters? This isn't lawfare. It's citizen frustration boiling over. When city staffers and bureaucrats have free rein to implement their agenda without good faith consultation, then we are in a bad spot, okay? When single source procurement contracts with $40 million are dished out to a company that has a Gmail, then you know something is not passing the smell test. When the city acts in bad faith, citizens will fight back, and the courts right now remain a viable defense for frustrated and fed up citizens. The TTC has devolved into the Wild West and is in a reprehensible state. It's an environment of impunity where drug abusers and the mentally unstable treat our transit system like their personal toilet. Law-abiding, fare-paying citizens now have to endure a dirty, unsafe transit experience where the risk of inhaling secondhand fentanyl is real. Our mayor and the TTC chair, Jamal Myers, are directly accountable for this, and Jamal Myers should resign as TTC chair. We're going to echo Councillor Bradford and what he said. We need a strong police presence on the TTC, bar none, period. We have a $1.7 billion annual budget for the Toronto Police Service. It's time to create a dedicated transit unit. We need a strong, visible presence on the TTC to handle business, deal with people who are acting incorrectly, and restore the deterrence effect. Thank you. A couple more points, and then I'll get out of your way. I want to commend Councillor Burnside's motion to ban foreign flags at City Hall. But I do think that there more can be done. Integrity TO believes that only 3 flags, and 3 flags only, should be flying at City Hall. And those are the flags of Canada, the flags of Ontario, and the flag of the City of Toronto. In conclusion, this state of affairs that I've just described is the state of Olivia Chow's Toronto. This is the progressive Toronto. And a very large proportion of citizens agree that this is not the city they grew up in. It is not the city they want to live in. We have a big election in 2026, so please mind your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. We will have some question and answer session now. I just want to thank our speakers, and please address your questions to which one that you would like to. Carlene Nation, Jeff Pollock, Eric Gillespie, Paul McHusey, Karima Saad, and Danielle Tate.
Any questions?
Who would you like to address it to, please?
We all know we have to get rid of a council, so traumatized on council since we don't have time. How do you do that? We have a very, very activist group of people operating and support them, and we also have people who are brain dead in this city who don't pay attention to the city. So what do you?
Well, I think it's just a matter of awareness, waking people up, letting them know that this is a very pivotal year. This is a year for change and where we can take our city in a better direction and have the future that we want. In terms of term limits, well, we are a creature of the province, and so the province would be the one to make that decision, to make an amendment to the Municipal Act to enforce term limits. But I think that message should start from City Hall, and that would involve a new common sense city council and mayor working on day one of the new administration and after the election to say this will be the hallmarks of what term limits should look like. And again, I think 3 terms at 4 years each is more than enough.
Sounds really great, but a little idealistic, okay? Because you've got an integrity commissioner who just ruled, not necessarily in your favor. You've got Progress Toronto. How do you deal with all this pushback?
By pushing back
Right?
harder, faster, stronger, bigger.
Planning a slate of candidates
Uh,
for the election?
there's a lot of people reaching out to us who are interested in running. We're talking to people. If you have great energy, a good outlook, a good mind, and you're ready for the how difficult it's going to be, then sure, we'll get behind you. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions? So, can you tell me who you would like to address your question to, please? Okay. Perhaps you can take a one-on-one session with them afterwards for that question. Is there any other question? Yes? Who would you like your question addressed to? Pardon me? Daniel? Okay.
Hi. Hi, Joanne. Come a little closer so I can hear. Yeah, we need change. Yeah. Yeah.
We can't allow the world to see us where we are today, what's going on.
Yeah.
So I love what you proposed. So my only one question is, are you running for mayor?
Okay. I haven't made any decision on any political ambitions for my future, but I will definitely let you know at the appropriate time if and when I do decide to run for any office. Right now, I am a concerned citizen coalescing with other concerned citizens about all the issues. And you're spot on. Homelessness has gone out of control, but we also know that homelessness is big business. We know this. The homeless industrial complex has taken root in many ways in Toronto and other liberal progressive cities in North America. Look at LA, look at Portland, et cetera, et cetera. We have to confront that issue and then deal with it, and hopefully we can resolve things in the future.
Well, thank you to all our speakers. Again, Carleen Nation, Jeff Pollock, Eric Gillespie, Paul McCusey, Karima Assad, and Daniel Tate. And thank you to everyone for coming out on this sunny but hopefully beginning of spring day. My name's Margaret Samuel. Thank you very much.